Hello and welcome everyone to the week ahead commodity report, where we of course will be reviewing the markets for the week ahead. Now, historically, December has been considered one of the most action-packed and profitable months of the year for commodity traders. This month so far, it's certainly living up to expectations. The most highly anticipated economic report of the month, if not this year, was released on Friday, and that showed that US inflation is increasing at the fastest pace in 40 years. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics, they released the inflationary numbers for November. That showed that US consumer price inflation that accelerated by a whopping 6.8% last month from a year ago, and its largest annual increase since 1982, a significant jump from the 6.2% inflation rate which was reported in October. This is now the sixth month in a row there has been significant jump in inflation figures, forcing the Fed to finally admit that they no longer view inflation as transitory. According to economists, this actual inflation figure is likely much higher than reported because of the obvious understatement in housing and food costs, which is buried in consumer prices, and that suggests the real number could be much closer to double digits. Signs of inflation, they are growing more obvious by the day. Consumers now paying much more for goods and services than they did a year ago. The trend shows no sign of slowing anytime soon. Looking ahead, inflation will continue to dominate the headlines and drive the markets again going into next week. November's consumer price inflation data, that now presents the Federal Reserve with one of the biggest dilemmas ever on whether to stick with its current plan to conclude its quantitative easing program by July of 2020 or whether to move much faster. That debate is expected to happen at the central bank's FOMC policymaking meeting next week on December 14th through to the 15th. Elsewhere, other major market moving events that traders will not want to miss out on, that includes the highly anticipated interest rate decision from the European Central Bank. We have US producer price inflation figures and new developments around the rapidly spreading Omicron variant. Whatever long-term goal you're looking to achieve through trading, whether that's to create a full-time income, a second or replacement income, or just earn a better return on your savings, then now is the time to take action. Right now you have an opportunity to really finish this year strong, but also to set yourself up and hit the ground running into 2022, which based on our research we predict is going to be a record-setting year due to all of the macroeconomic events that are currently unfolding. Extraordinary times, they do create extraordinary opportunities. Right now we're living in one of the most exciting and rewarding periods ever in monetary history. So if you have been kicking yourself for missing out on some of the biggest trading opportunities so far this year, you still have time to make 2021 your best year yet and set yourself up for 2022 to hit the ground running. So with that, let's move over to the charts and we'll talk you through exactly what we're looking at here as we head into a new week. First of all, you'll note that the dollar index did pull back on Friday. We've been consolidating now on the dollar for a couple of weeks. Normally at the end of December you see outflows in the dollar. That does tend to support several commodities, so I would definitely keep the dollar on your radar as you go into next week. However, I would still expect volatility and range-bound price action due to all of the news items that we have going into next week from an array of central banks, which of course includes the Bank of England, the European Central Bank, and also the Federal Reserve as well. So this is bound to cause volatility, and with that, of course, big opportunities as we go into next week as well. So then let's move it over to gold. So gold has continued to remain range-bound as we've been discussing with you during the gold and silver commodity reports here to expect this at this time of year. You're going to see the price run up and down. I would expect this even more so going into next week. This does tend to tire a lot of traders out. They then exit the markets. They miss out on huge opportunities at this time of year on the metals. So where we are right now, we do continue to see this up and down price action, not only with gold, but also on silver as well. You can see where silver consolidated throughout last week. The gold-silver ratio broke out to 1-year highs. That puts silver breaking down back below $22 US per ounce. It reclaimed that level there on Friday. Again, as we talked you through on Silver Asset of the Day, we warned you about all of these sell-offs that you would get over the month of November once you hit Thanksgiving, Black Friday, contract settlement, end of month outflows, and we just continue to see that pressure to the downside that we warned you about and really set you up nicely here so that now you have much lower prices right into the month of December, rather than FOMOing in when so many traders out there got ultra bullish in the middle of November, not realizing that the metals were going to have a massive rug pull. Of course, you know that if you've been watching our commodity reports, we talked you through that in a lot of detail. If you missed those reports, feel free to go back to the beginning of November when we talked you through this in a lot of detail, the selling pressure that you will get on gold and silver over the month of November, which sets up for much better opportunities at much lower prices in December. And we're there now. We're at these much more favorable prices, not only on silver, but also on platinum as well, where we've had over a 2,000 point correction to the downside here. Much more favorable prices now as we head throughout the month of December, almost back at the swing lows from September here as well. But again, very much like gold and silver, platinum is consolidating at the moment at the lower end of its channel and providing a nice range here, which in time we are expecting an explosive move to capitalize on. But again, going into next week, due to the major news items we have coming up, there'll be more opportunities to trade that volatility, but also set yourself up for some big trades at the end of the year then as you move into January as well, not only on platinum but also on palladium as well. So you'll note where palladium, we talked you through the breakout it had at the beginning of last week, but of course then later on in the week we've continued just to see this range bound choppy price action on the metals, which basically again tends to wear a lot of traders out. They will lack stamina to stay in trades at this time of year. They will then exit out of positions before you see much larger moves in the market, especially as you get towards the end of the year and as you move into January as well. So again, palladium, very much like platinum, retesting the recent lows here, consolidating at those levels. Then you only have to look at copper here as well, and also crude oil prices too, where we have had those slingshot reversals over the last week and a half here, now consolidating the gains here. Of course, oil we mentioned to you in detail. You wanted to be looking at that buy zone between 60 to 65 US dollars per barrel. Last week, oil prices, they rallied over $7, broke back out to 73 US dollars per barrel. So we saw a massive move on this market that I do hope you capitalized on as well. No surprises there at all with the current environment that we are in, with inflation at its highest level in 40 years. And you do not want to miss out on some massive opportunities we have coming up at this time of year to trade these back-to-back moves to really capitalize on the short-term macro-driven volatility. Now, the country you live in at the moment, they may well be moving into further restrictions, lockdowns as a result of the new COVID variant. And with that, that actually provides you with a window of opportunity here to really max it between now and the end of the year, set yourself up for 2022 and take advantage of this very unique period in monetary history where you do have just exaggerated moves in the market that you can capitalize on massively if you understand where we are at within the cycles at this time of year. If you want to maximize your money making potential and thrive, not just survive in these fast moving markets, then you need to adapt your strategy to the current market conditions. Most importantly, utilize a professional research driven approach. In these times of heightened volatility and rapidly surging inflation, the importance of having an essential income generating skill like trading, that has become a must have necessity. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that you should never rely on just one income stream. Building multiple streams of income, it's no longer an option, it's a priority to make sure that you're inflation proof and that you can thrive in this highly lucrative climate, not just survive. If you want to gain the ultimate edge to really supercharge your wealth in these fast moving and highly profitable markets, then you need to trade like the hedge funds, the money managers, the institutions, utilizing a professional research driven approach. Having access to the right data at the right time, that is the single greatest difference between ordinary and extraordinary results. The greater your data and intelligence, the greater your edge in navigating these fast moving markets with precision, accuracy and the highest levels of profitability. Trading like every other misguided retail trader out there, using outdated technical analysis or gimmicky technical indicators that will not work. You're guaranteed to get crushed and chopped up in these markets. This is where you want to be utilizing statistics, data, market intelligence, learn, understand the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly cycles for each commodity, learn the intermarket correlations, the ratios in the market, the capital flows, extremely important, the key areas of liquidity which are targeted in the market. Alongside that, learn the fundamentals, the macroeconomics, the key news drivers which will provide those very fast impulse moves for commodities that you can capitalize on extremely quickly, and of course learn how the hedge funds, money managers, banks and institutions are positioned in the market. That will help you massively to get an edge. So with that, if you would like to learn the research driven approach to the market and join our community of successful traders, there is an opportunity for you to do so and join our professional mentorship program. As a member, you get access to our exclusive live trading room webinars. You get access to real-time trade ideas, access to institutional research and market intelligence, access to our private members academy website, and also support and one-to-one mentoring. For more information, just go to www.jointhelivestradingroom.com. The link is also below this report in the description. So just click on the link, make an application, and we will of course get in touch with you ASAP. And do make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you're always kept updated with all of the latest commodity reports.